Billionaire dad watches Waitress feed his disabled son, and that one act changes her life forever. The rain was pounding hard against the windows of the Haven Street diner. Each drop a sharp reminder of how heavy the night felt in Maggie's chest. It wasn't just a storm outside, it was the kind of night where everything around you feels a little too still. A little too quiet. She was no stranger to long nights, tired feet, or the clang of dishes in the back. This diner. It was her second home, her daily grind. The sound of sizzling burgers, the buzz of tired customers, and the faint scent of black coffee always floating in the air. But tonight, something was different. The booth lights seemed dimmer. The air a little colder. The usual crowd had dwindled to only a few scattered souls. In the far corner, a trucker silently sipped his beer, lost in thought. A college kid sat hunched over a glowing laptop, earbuds in, face glued to the screen. Maggie sighed and wiped down the counter with slow, practiced movements, glancing every so often toward the rain-slick streets outside. And then, she saw him. Just outside the diner's glass doors sat a small figure. A boy, maybe 8 years old, no more, curled up in a wheelchair, completely drenched. His thin body was wrapped in a worn-out blanket, and dark strands of hair clung to his pale forehead, soaked by the storm. Maggie's heart clenched in an instant. Without a second of hesitation, she tossed the rag aside, grabbed a towel from the back, and rushed out the door, her shoes splashing through puddles on the sidewalk. "Hey there, sweetheart," she said gently, her voice cutting through the storm's howl as she knelt beside him. "What are you doing out here all alone in this weather?" The little boy looked up slowly. His eyes, wide in an icy shade of blue, searched hers with uncertainty. "I'm waiting for someone," he whispered, voice barely louder than the rain. Maggie looked around. Nothing. No car, no umbrella, no parent rushing up the sidewalk. Just wet pavement and cold wind. Her instincts kicked in hard. "You can't stay out here like this, honey," she said, already adjusting his blanket. "Come on, come inside with me. It's warm, and I've got something just for you." The boy hesitated for a second, then nodded shyly. Back inside, she wheeled him to a cozy spot near the radiator and draped the towel across his shoulders. The diner lights reflected softly in his eyes as they warmed up. "I'm Maggie," she said with a kind smile, kneeling down so they were eye level. "What's your name, champ?" "Tommy," he replied, a tiny smile starting to break through the chill. "Well, Tommy, you like grilled cheese?" she asked, already heading to the kitchen before he could even nod. She didn't need an answer, she just knew. A few minutes later, she returned with a golden, gooey grilled cheese sandwich and a steaming mug of tomato soup. "This one's on the house, okay?" she said, tucking a napkin gently into his lap. Tommy took a bite and his face lit up like a Christmas tree. "This is the best thing I've ever had," he mumbled, eyes wide with joy. Maggie laughed softly, sliding into the seat across from him. They talked about superheroes and cartoons and silly jokes that only an 8-year-old could find hilarious. And with each moment, as Tommy's smile grew, a warmth began blooming in Maggie's heart too. She hadn't felt it in a long time. It reminded her of the stories her grandma used to tell, the ones that said kindness, even the smallest kind, could change the world. What she didn't know, what she couldn't know, was that someone else was watching all of this unfold. Across the street, in a sleek black Bentley parked beneath a flickering streetlight, sat Victor Grayson, billionaire, CEO of Grayson Technologies, one of the most powerful men in the city. And in that moment he was just a father, a man staring through rain-speckled windows at his son, and the stranger who had taken him in without question. Victor's sharp, storm-gray eyes never left them. He'd built an empire from nothing. Closed deals worth billions. Moved markets with a single signature. But what he saw in Maggie that night wasn't something money could buy. This passage has such a strong emotional arc and great tension, building on Maggie's fear of losing everything she's worked for, only to eventually find trust and redemption. Her journey from being wrongly accused to proving her innocence is compelling, and the way you depict Victor's decision to trust her despite the evidence stacked against her makes his character more nuanced and relatable. The emotional payoff in the last part, where Maggie feels validated and trusted by Victor, is really powerful. She not only earns his trust but also reaffirms her own self-worth, which is a nice theme to weave into the story. If you're thinking about expanding this, there's a lot of potential to explore the fallout after the crisis. How does Victor's trust in Maggie change their dynamic moving forward? Does she feel more secure in her position, or does the tension of this situation linger between them? You could also delve deeper into Maggie's internal journey as she deals with the aftermath and what it means for her future at the company and in her personal life.